Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I got a little project. We're gonna replace this stock strut tower brace. This car originally, when I bought it, it had Olin's coilovers, and the previous owner had it installed, and they notched out or they cut a hole in the stock strut tower brace, and then the Olin adjustment knobs were tall enough to poke through so that you could make the adjustments. Well, I replaced the Olins with these Meister R GT1 club race coilovers, and they sit a little bit lower than the stock one, so I can't really adjust them through here. I got a new strut tower brace that I ordered from Goodwin. So this is based on the ND version. The ND basically copied, I wouldn't say copied, but was inspired by the Mazda Motorsports strut tower brace for the MX-5 Global Cup car. So they finally redid the design for the NC, and it's really light, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the installation today. Okay, before we actually get it installed, let's just take a closer look at the strut bar itself. It looks like it's painted, painted aluminum. It's very light. I would probably venture to say it's less than 5 pounds. The welds look good. I'm not an expert, but they look clean. And I think that's all we have to say about the bar itself. Okay, to remove the stock strut tower brace, we're going to have to remove these 12 millimeter bolts here. And then also on the top, these are also 12 millimeters. Once that's removed, we'll also need to remove the mounting bracket for the coilovers themselves. And these are gonna be 14 millimeters. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these, and I'll bring you back once I'm... All right, so I kind of dry fitted the bar in, and I put it in the slots over on the left side. But if you take a look over here, they don't align very well. So we'll have to put a little bit of preload into here, basically bend the bar to get it on. And then you just give it a slight bend, and it should just slide into place. So now there's going to be a little bit of preload, but we're going to go ahead and just loosely tighten this, and then we're going to raise the car up and then tighten it for good. That way, when we get it down on the ground, it adds some preload where it's actually pressing down on the strut towers. That was a pro tip that was given to me on a tech day, and with the Austin Miata Club. I forgot to mention that Goodwin actually supplied the hardware for the strut tower, so we'll be using these newer nuts. The washers will go up on top, and then we'll just use the flange nuts for these. I'm gonna look for the torque specs, because this metal is rather soft and we don't want to over torque it. Okay, we got the car off the ground, and I put on the hardware that was supplied by Goodwin. It turns out that these flange nuts are actually going to be 15 millimeters. So I got them on finger tight. We're going to tighten it down, and then we'll set the car down so that it'll settle. But I do want to go ahead and comment about the fitment. So the purge valve here butts up against the wall of this strut tower brace, and it's a very tight fit. So what I ended up having to do was push it fairly hard to get it to slide on. And then it does leave a little bit of a gap right here on these, I guess, these two rear flange nuts. So as you can see there. So we're gonna have to tighten that down, and that's gonna close the gap. But I do want to mention that this is aluminum, so it is gonna be soft. The thing that I worry is that if we put a lot of tension on here or torque it down too much, it's going to thin out the metal. and then over time I think that this metal can tear. So we'll just have to deal with it. I guess if you buy this, just be aware of that you know, maybe taking this on and off on a regular basis isn't such a good idea. Okay, we got the torque wrench on here. One thing I do want to mention is that the factory torque specs for these strut bolts are going to be 28 to 34 foot-pounds. I went ahead and set it to 30, and we'll see how that works. Okay, just an update. I felt that 30 was a little bit too tight, and I felt that the metal was giving. So I backed out the torque wrench to 28, and that seems to be just fine. So we're going to leave it there. Okay, here is the money shot of the completed installation. I'm not going to give you guys driving impressions because, quite honestly, I don't really think that these aftermarket bars add any additional benefit over the stock one. The main motivation for me was to get access to the adjustment knobs on my coilovers, and I think it looks great. This is a style of strut bar that I had on my ND, and I really like the way it dressed up the engine, and you know, I wanted it for my NC as well. I will say that it is quite expensive. There are other options out there like the Cusco strut bar that's just a single piece, and it seems to work just as fine. That one runs around $280. I think that's also available on Goodwin. And then I think there is also the Cobalt option, which I haven't seen available recently, but when I bought it from Goodwin several years ago, that was under $200. I think it's quite more expensive now. But if you can find it, that's also a good option. All right, well, this is going to wrap up the video. I hope you guys have a great day.